Hello, my name is Amanda, and I am going to talk about the digestive system. It goes through your mouth, goes through the esophagus, through the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. And it starts with your mouth, that's where digestive begins, and then it goes through your esophagus where liquid, saliva, and food go through, and then into your stomach where the spine cardiac sphincter is, and that is to make sure that acids don't go back into the esophagus. The cardiac region, that is right around here where the cardiac sphincter is, and that's just where food contact passes from the esophagus to the stomach, and this is where gastric acids are manufactured. And so then the fundus region is over here at the bottom of the stomach, and that just stores undigested foods and also the gases from the chemical digestion of food. And then the pleuric pleuris is over here, and that is where it just makes sure that from the small intestine that stuff doesn't go back into the stomach, and it prevents the intestinal contents from re-entering the stomach. And that's what I'm trying to say is because it's in the small intestine is trying to kind of like the cardiac sphincter, where it doesn't want the acids to go back into the esophagus, but instead the pleuric and the pleuris region doesn't want the intestinal contents to go back into the stomach. And so then I want to talk about the cesium, and that just absorbs fluids, salts, and that remain after completion of intestinal digestion, absorption. And so then I want to talk about the ascending colon, which is right over here above the cesium. What that does is carry feces from the cesium along right side of the abdominal cavity and into the transverse colon. And then I want to talk about the transverse colon. And the transverse colon just to extract H2O nutrients from the digested foods or materials that pass through the digestive tract. This is the longest section of the colon. The descending colon is right over here, and what that does is stores the remains of digested food that will be emptied into the rectum. The sigmoid colon, we're getting closer to the anus, is muscular that contracts to increase the pressure inside the colon to make it the stool to move it to the rectum. And so then I want to talk about the pleuric sphincter, and what that does is acts as a valve to control the flow of partially digested food from the stomach to the small intestine. And so the duodenum, that is just partially digested food, which it receives that partially digested food, which is called chyme. And then I want to talk about the duodenum. Duodenum is right here, and this is just specialized in absorption most to absorb, and then it just into the blood capillaries, and this is where just it absorbs the duodenum. It's specialized just to absorb, to make the feces go in out through the anus. And then I'm going to talk about the ileum. The ileum is, we're getting closer to the anus now, and the ileum, that just absorbs it helps. It's hard because these are kind of the same, but the duodenum and ileum, those just absorb, and they just help each other out to absorb. The ileum just absorbs into the blood, and then the rectum. Then we get to the rectum, and storage facility for feces and waste material, pretty much. And then the anus, that controls expulsion of the feces. So this process is just digesting food into your feces. And so then there's other important ones that doesn't even affect the digestion at all, but they are still very essential, but it's important for digestion, but food doesn't pass through these. So the liver, that's right here, and removes toxins from the blood and just produces biochemicals for digestion and keeps glucose levels stable. And so then I want to talk about the gallbladder, which is right underneath the liver, and that just stores and recycles excess bile from the small intestine for reuse. And then the pancreas, that looks like those grapes right here, secretes digestive enzymes into small intestine to complete the chemical digestion of food. These help with digestion, but food doesn't pass through them, but they're still important. But I hope this helped, and I hope you have a good day.